The thermal resistivity of concrete represents its resistance to heat flow. A higher thermal resistivity indicates that the material acts as a better insulator. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides a default value of 55 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt for the thermal resistivity of concrete. However, this value can vary depending on several factors, including the specific type of concrete used and its moisture content. When concrete is used as backfill in a duct bank, it is often exposed to higher temperatures compared to concrete used in building construction. Therefore, it is generally more conservative to use a higher value of thermal resistivity to account for these elevated temperatures. In the context of cabling in a duct bank backfilled with concrete, it is more adequate to consider 115 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt, calculated as 120-5, instead of using the default value of 55 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt. This adjustment is based on the understanding that the thermal resistivity of earth from which the concrete is derived can vary significantly, potentially reaching up to 120 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt or even higher. Figures B310.3, B310.4, and B310.5 in the NEC indicate that the row of concrete is equal to the row of earth minus 5. Given that the row of earth can be as high as 120, it is prudent to use 115 as the thermal resistivity value for concrete backfill. The NEC Table 310.15b2 provides thermal resistivity values for various soil types. The thermal resistivity of soil is a measure of its resistance to heat flow. The higher the thermal resistivity, the more resistant the soil is to heat flow. This is important because the heat generated by underground cables must be dissipated into the surrounding soil. If the soil has a high thermal resistivity, the heat will not be able to dissipate as easily, and the cables will overheat. The NEC Table 310.15b2 provides thermal resistivity values for both wet and dry soils. Wet soils have a lower thermal resistivity than dry soils because water is a good conductor of heat. The NEC Table 310.15b2 also provides thermal resistivity values for different types of soil, such as sand, clay, and loam. The thermal resistivity of soil can vary significantly depending on the type of soil and the moisture content. Therefore, it is important to use the correct thermal resistivity value when calculating the ampacity of underground cables. The ampacity of a cable is the maximum amount of current that it can safely carry. The ampacity of a cable is determined by the size of the cable, the insulation material, and the surrounding environment. The NEC Table 310.16 provides ampacity values for different types of cables in different environments. The ampacity of a cable is affected by the thermal resistivity of the surrounding soil. The higher the thermal resistivity of the soil, the lower the ampacity of the cable. This is because the heat generated by the cable will not be able to dissipate as easily, and the cable will overheat. When calculating the ampacity of underground cables, it is important to use the correct thermal resistivity value for the surrounding soil. The NEC provides thermal resistivity values for various soil types in Table 310.15b2. The NEC also provides a formula for calculating the ampacity of underground cables in Section 310.15. The formula takes into account the size of the cable, the insulation material, the surrounding environment, and the thermal resistivity of the soil. The NEC provides specific guidelines for determining the appropriate ampacity of conductors in various conditions. These guidelines take into account factors such as the type of insulation, the ambient temperature, the number of conductors in a raceway or cable, and the thermal resistivity of the surrounding soil. The NEC provides ampacity tables that list the allowable ampacities for different types of conductors based on their size and insulation type. These tables are based on a set of standard conditions, such as an ambient temperature of 30 degrees Celsius and a certain number of conductors in a raceway or cable. When the actual conditions differ from the standard conditions, the ampacity must be adjusted using correction factors. Correction factors are used to adjust the ampacity of a conductor for ambient temperatures above or below 30 degrees Celsius. The NEC provides correction factors for different insulation types and ambient temperature ranges. Derating factors are used to reduce the ampacity of a conductor when there are more than 3 current-carrying conductors in a raceway or cable. The NEC provides derating factors for different numbers of conductors. The thermal resistivity of the soil is a measure of its resistance to heat flow. The higher the thermal resistivity, the more resistant the soil is to heat flow. This is important because the heat generated by underground conductors must be dissipated into the surrounding soil. If the soil has a high thermal resistivity, the heat will not be able to dissipate as easily, and the conductors will overheat. The NEC provides thermal resistivity values for various soil types in Table 310.15b2. When installing underground conductors, it is important to select a location with a low thermal resistivity. This will help to ensure that the conductors do not overheat. The NEC also provides guidelines for installing underground conductors in concrete encasement. Concrete has a higher thermal resistivity than soil, so it is important to select a concrete mix with a low thermal resistivity. The NEC provides specific requirements for the installation of underground conductors. These requirements are designed to ensure that the conductors are installed safely and that they will operate properly. The NEC provides requirements for the depth of burial, the type of raceway or cable, and the spacing between conductors. The NEC also provides requirements for the grounding of underground conductors. The NEC provides requirements for the overcurrent protection of underground conductors. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect conductors from overloads and short circuits. The NEC provides requirements for the size and type of overcurrent protection devices. The NEC provides requirements for the maintenance of underground conductors. Underground conductors should be inspected periodically to ensure that they are in good condition. The NEC provides requirements for the repair or replacement of damaged underground conductors. The NEC is a complex document, and it is important to consult with a qualified electrician when installing or maintaining underground conductors. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to use the latest edition. The NEC provides a comprehensive set of requirements for the safe installation and operation of electrical systems. The NEC is a valuable resource for electricians, engineers, and other professionals who work with electrical systems. The NEC is a living document, and it is constantly being updated to reflect new technologies and safety concerns. The NEC is a product of the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. The NFPA is a non-profit organization that develops and publishes codes and standards for fire prevention and safety. The NEC is adopted by many states and local jurisdictions in the United States. The NEC is also used as a model code in other countries. The NEC is an important tool for ensuring the safety of electrical systems. The NEC is a valuable resource for anyone who works with electrical systems. The NEC is a complex document, but it is essential for understanding the requirements for safe electrical installations. The NEC is a constantly evolving document, and it is important to stay up to date on the latest changes. The NEC is a valuable resource for electricians, engineers, and other professionals who work with electrical systems. By using a higher thermal resistivity value, such as 115 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt, engineers and electricians can ensure that the cable ampacity calculations are more accurate and that the cables will not overheat. This is particularly important for duct banks that are located in areas with high ambient temperatures or that are subject to direct sunlight. Overheating can damage cables and lead to power outages. Using a more conservative thermal resistivity value helps to prevent these problems. It is important to consult with a qualified electrical engineer to determine the appropriate thermal resistivity value for a specific application. The engineer will take into account the specific conditions of the installation, such as the type of concrete used, the moisture content, and the ambient temperature. The engineer will also consider the type of cable being used and the amount of current that it will be carrying. By considering all of these factors, the engineer can select a thermal resistivity value that will ensure the safe and reliable operation of the electrical system. In summary, while the NEC provides a default value of 55 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt for the thermal resistivity of concrete, it is often more appropriate to use a higher value, such as 115 degrees Celsius centimeter per watt, when cabling in duct bank backfill with concrete. This is because the concrete in a duct bank is likely to be exposed to higher temperatures than the concrete in a building. Using a higher thermal resistivity value will result in a more conservative cable ampacity calculation, which will help to prevent the cables from overheating. Always consult with a qualified electrical engineer to determine the appropriate thermal resistivity value for a specific application. Firstly, consider the type of concrete. Different types of concrete have different thermal resistivities. Secondly, take into account the moisture content of the concrete. The thermal resistivity of concrete increases as the moisture content decreases. Thirdly, factor in the ambient temperature. The thermal resistivity of concrete increases as the ambient temperature increases. Fourthly, the type of cable being used is important. Different types of cables have different ampacities. Fifthly, the amount of current that the cable will be carrying matters. The ampacity of a cable decreases as the amount of current increases. Sixthly, determine the depth of burial. The thermal resistivity of the soil surrounding the cable affects the cable's ampacity. Seventh, the spacing between cables matters. The ampacity of a cable decreases as the spacing between cables decreases. Eighth, consider the presence of other heat sources. The ampacity of a cable decreases as the proximity to other heat sources increases. Ninth, the type of raceway or cable tray matters. The ampacity of a cable depends on the type of raceway or cable tray in which it is installed. 10th, consider any applicable codes or standards. The NEC and other codes and standards may specify the maximum allowable ampacity for a given cable installation. By considering all of these factors, you can select a thermal resistivity value that will ensure the safe and reliable operation of the electrical system.